Hello, I'm Matt, one of the top 15 greatest DC20 YouTubers. I learned about some more channels since my last video. But anyway, today I'm doing another casual homebrew video, unscripted, because I had fun with the last one. But this time I'm spinning wheels to decide what I make. So let's go. Okay, now I roll for the class. Okay, wizard is interesting. I definitely have some ideas for wizard talents already. An idea I've been thinking about a lot, just in general, is being a spellcaster that just casts like one spell. Like Megumin from Konosuba. And I was thinking like, okay, could you logistically make that work without being awful? I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about this a lot. I might go with something completely different, we'll see. Now I ponder a wizard talent. Okay, I'm pondering a lot. And I have no clue what I want to do. And a lot of the ideas I have are more like spellcaster ideas instead of like wizard specific. So I need to like get in that wizard mindset probably. I don't know, I'll get back to you. Time has passed. And as you can see, I had a ton of ideas and I didn't like any of them. Like I really struggled to figure out what I want to make. I feel like I'm definitely better at like ancestry, homebrew stuff, but that's just because I need to practice more, I guess, with this type of thing. But anyway, on to actually what I made. So Warrior's Way Sigil. So here's what's happening. The idea is it's like you can support different allies, not just spellcasters, you know? But you can also be funny and use it as a gish if you want. Sort of be like a spellblade, but I think that's fine because warlocks and clerics also have ways of doing gish stuff, so it's cool. I don't know how practical this is, but if something like this was actually in the game, I would have fun thinking of how to use it. Because immediately if I saw this, I'd think like, okay, can I go warlock or go spellblade and like multi-class into this? Or can I actually be a wizard that uses both melee and spells and be like sort of a spellblade but not? Like, I would think of how to use this in a fun way. And like the actual practical way is just like place it down for allies or that type of thing. Also, it grants defense, which is just good in general. Honestly, I think that might be the main use if I keep it that way. Also, the reason that it's orange and green is because it's not finished. Well, first of all, for physically empowering, I wasn't sure if I should actually just like say what type of magic it is, but I don't know what type of magic it would be. So, I don't know, maybe I should specify a magic type. And for feature, the reason that's a darker green is just because I realized that like, does anything else say feature like that? Like, do the other class talents use the word feature? Because shouldn't it just be Arcane Sigil level 3? Like, why does it need the word feature? Am I just confused? I don't know. But anyway, I might change this a lot, or I might not touch it at all. But I want to spin a wheel, so let's do the next thing. I'll come back to it. Okay, let's go. Subclass. Okay, that's interesting and scary. Oh, and when it says subclass, that just means level 3 features. And I assume like a level 6 feature or like level 9 feature will like play off features that don't exist yet. So yeah, just level 3. Okay, let's go. Oh no. Oh. I wanted this one the least. I'm not familiar with druids. Druids just don't interest me, so I never, like, all the knowledge of druids instantly leaves my brain the second I look away. Maybe I can do like a cool cryptid thing, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this. But that's the point of the video, it's a challenge kinda. I gotta ponder now. So I've been trying to figure this out, what I wanna do, and I'm not super comfortable like getting away from the standard druid template, you know? And in the case of making a Sasquatch one, if I follow that template, like I feel like I could make this work, but it feels boring to me. Since I'm a Sasquatch fan, you'd think I'd be like super hyped to make this. But I don't know, I'm not resonating with like my ideas too much. I'm just like, eh, which I don't love that. So I'm thinking I might experiment with something else. I think Jackalope could be cool, but if I do Jackalope, I will be weird with it. Which that might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing, but if I do Jackalope, I'll probably play into like how they breed during lightning strikes and that type of thing. So I might go like the lightning resistance direction. So I don't know, I'll think more about it. Okay, I feel like I'm close to figuring out what I want to do. However, I'm bored again. I am Daredevil bored again. I don't know. I'm gonna come back to this, but like, I just want to do something else for a while. So I'm gonna spin the final wheel. I like moving around and like addressing different things. Okay, let's go. Okay, sure. This is probably the broadest one, where I can just kind of do whatever I want. Alright, it's been a bit. So, I decided to make a feature where you're just good at kicking, because I thought it'd be cool. Honestly, mostly just because of Sanji. I'm still working on it, it's not finished. I'm probably gonna adjust some things. Oh, also, requirement to martial mastery. That's weird. Like, nothing has that currently, but I wanted at least a slight amount of investment, where, like, you have to have some sort of martial feature first. I didn't want a spellcaster just take it. Like, you can get this super easily still as a spellcaster, but you need at least a very slight investment. And the advantage on acrobatics checks makes reduced impact. I was thinking about rewording that so it just says checks in case there's a feature in the future that makes it so you can use a different thing for that. But anyway, that's just a ribbon, which I think makes sense and is flavorful. And then I have the stuff that requires your hands to be empty, which that is if you're dedicating yourself to the kicking. Originally I had it so like when your hands are empty you gain a speed boost and that sort of thing, but I realized that would encourage you to do a weird thing where like you run in and then you just draw your axe as part of an attack or draw your weapon and then like there's no point. So I made all those features just focused around kicking, and I think it makes sense how I handled it. I think I'm gonna move on to working on that druid thing again, just because it's a little boring when I'm in like the weeds of like rewording stuff and, you know. Hello. Time has passed. It's been like a week or something. And I think I came up with something actually kind of interesting. So first of all, a few things I want to say. I don't know if a Sasquatch would be a monstrosity or a humanoid. Like, is monstrosity going to be like kind of a general category in DC20, or is it going to be like magical creations or something? So maybe they should be humanoid instead, but I'm going with monstrosity for now. Also, I feel like rarely cited. Like, there probably should be some text afterwards that says like, this breaks if you leave the domain or something. I do feel like that's kind of implied anyway. I looked at like stealth rules and I was confused, so I then thought it was good enough. Rarely cited works exactly how you think it would work. Okay? So just assume that it makes sense, please. But yeah, I'll go through some of the features. So, Bigfooted Form. I already mentioned that Monstrosity is a little questionable, but probably makes sense. Exposed Resistance. I chose that just because I thought it was the most interesting. And also, like, I feel like a Bigfoot would avoid being exposed, even though exposed isn't exactly, like, that has nothing to do with being seen. But, I don't know, I thought it was fitting, even though I think you can make an argument for, like, impaired or a bunch of other things, too. But I feel like it made sense. And the size wild form trait. That is because Sasquatches are big. I don't know if wild form should be bold or not, or if size should even be bold. Rarely cited, Sasquatches are very elusive. I based the wording kind of on the Cleric Dark domain. For Skunk Ape, I feel like I was starting to run out of like interesting creative stuff to do with the Sasquatch. So I was thinking, like, I've heard about how skunk apes smell bad, which is a type of Bigfoot. And I also heard just regular Bigfoot stories about how they smell bad. So I was like, okay, you can weaponize the stench. I will say, I wonder if I should have specified that, like, if you don't have a sense of smell, this doesn't affect you. But I don't know, I didn't want to make it too situational, and I feel like if something doesn't have a nose, it probably will be immune to poison anyway, because that's probably mostly construct stuff, but I don't know, maybe I should have specified. Oh, also, I realized that you didn't really have a way of activating this, because unlike the Phoenix and the Overgrowth or whatever, like, you don't have a damage type on your unarmed strikes or whatever they're called. So I needed some way of you being able to trigger this in your wild form without having a damage type that's elemental. So I thought just making it so when you deal physical damage, you can activate it. It made sense. And the idea is you're hurting them through your like stench. And tree knocking, I really like this feature. I thought about making it an hour instead of 10 minutes, but I don't want this to be like too, I guess, crunchy. To like, if you're playing a one shot or something, like you can just say like, oh, I teach the party so we can use this in the heist or whatever. It's not like a crazy impactful feature, but I like it a lot and I think it makes sense. I do think it invokes the flavor of a Sasquatch. Also, I'm really living up to my channel description by mentioning wizards, Sasquatches, and DC20, all in the same video. Now back to something else. Okay, and now Warrior's Way Sigil. I'm just gonna keep the name Warrior's Way. That's also the name of a movie that got like 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm going with it. And for this, where it says physically empowering something magic, I think I'm just not gonna specify the actual magic type, because I feel like 99% of the time that won't be relevant anyway, and I just wasn't sure what to say it is. I feel like transmutation or invocation probably makes the most sense, but would wizards even be using all that invocation stuff? And like transmutation might be a bit of a stretch anyway, so I don't know. But yeah, and I didn't make any other real changes, I don't think. I thought it was mostly fine enough. I feel like conceptually this is kind of just weird, and it probably would be used for like a Gish wizard. But if this wasn't the game, I would 100% try to make a Gish wizard viable, even though it probably wouldn't be. Yeah, I think that's funny, so I like this a lot. Okay, hardened legs. That's what I'm calling it. So, I made the wording hopefully a bit more elegant now, but I realized that just saying you can use your legs for dual wielding is a bit odd. I think my original intent was that you'd be able to, like, you can only dual wield your leg with your other leg, but I feel like spelling that out makes the wording a lot messier. I feel like you could interpret the current wording as just saying, like, if you attack with a giant sword that you're holding in both your hands, you can also kick after and be dual wielding that in that way, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't have to just be your legs. So maybe I should like specify that, or maybe that's more of a DC tip thing anyway that would just go under it. I don't even know if that's like super powerful anyway, so maybe it doesn't need to be specified. I'm gonna leave the wording as is because I think it's good enough, and I've been overthinking everything way too much probably. But yeah, I think hardened legs is actually my favorite one of these. I made some weird choices with it, but I really want something like this to actually exist in the game, just because Sanji is cool, and that's my main reason. Kicking is cool, and that might actually be it. I don't know, it's been multiple weeks, so I don't even remember what I like explained. I don't know if this was cohesive at all, but yeah, that was fun. I could do this again in the future if you want, maybe add more variations with the wheel or something. Make it more random what I make. Although I think my next video is going to be a character creation thing most likely. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was good.